Us right now as we bring you the television show live from the mezzanine level, and she's down in our nation's capital. Laura, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
Okay, so the President of the United States and Ivanka are going to go out to Wisconsin later today. They're talking jobs and, apprentice programs and the skills gap in the United States. But at the same time, Jeff Sessions is going to be sitting down on Capitol Hill talking about Comey and Mueller and all that stuff.
What I think is interesting is they're going to Wisconsin and they're talking about the economy.
Right.
How do we get people to transition into the workforce that's changing in the United States? Those are things that actually a lot of liberals have been asking for. Apprenticeships and developing new talents, whether it's tech or STEM for young women, workplace accommodations. I mean, that's not really the conservative palette. Right off the bat. However, those things are kind of popular among a wide swath of the public. But here's the rub. Today, Jeff Sessions decides he's going to testify. Congress schedules it, and that's all people are going to be watching. Yeah. So again, the administration kind of steps on its own narrative by continuing this conversation about the Russia probe that now seems to be a probe into something else. But Jeff Sessions clearly believes he needs to right the record. And knowing him as long as I've known him, he has something significant to say today. And I think it's going to be something everyone's going to be watching. And again, he's got to be careful when he testifies, but he's not a dummy. He's a smart guy, and I think it's going to be well worth the watch.
You know what I think is so great? The president did not fuel the fire yesterday. He kept it on his message. He kept it on his cabinet. So therefore, the other networks that are living off his tweets and trying to get storylines from them have to go work and make things up and go off base. And it's really becoming clearer and clearer that there's no there when it comes to collusion. And if he stays on this message, he's going to make it very difficult for a lot of the enemies in the media.
I think it's great for the president to use tweets to talk about the positive aspects of his agenda. I think we need more positive things from the administration.
Right.
I want to see,
like today.
Yeah, I mean, this is all good stuff. Again, it's going to get stepped on quite a bit, I think, from Sessions, but that's okay. I mean, things aren't going to turn around overnight. This is going to take some time for the administration to start, I think, righting this ship into the direction of economic renewal, growth, and really putting the spotlight back on the never-Trumpers, both in the Republican Party, many of them who do not want him to be successful, and, of course, on the far left, who want to resist anything he does and ultimately want to remove him from office. So the more he is the champion of the forgotten man, the theme he struck so brilliantly during the campaign, the more he looks like the beacon, and they look like the storm. You want the beacon to be shining really brightly in the middle of a storm. He needs to be the beacon. We don't want him to be the storm.
Isn't that what President Clinton did?
Yeah, well, President Clinton said, I'm going to get back to the work of the American people. And I know that the president doesn't want to appear like he has anything to hide. Bill Clinton did have something to hide. So I know the president's probably thinking, well, I didn't do anything wrong. Bill Clinton was trying to hide something. So he always wants to defend the defenseless and when it comes to the workforce. And I think in this case, he truly believes that this is hurting the country. That's what he believes. So if he believes that, his instinct is to smash back. But in this case, let me just say, as a lawyer who used to practice in this area of the law of federal investigations and big white-collar criminal investigations, less said, the better said. Less said, better said. Let the investigation go forward. I would stop talking about it, let the lawyers do their job, and let this proceed, I would hope, expeditiously for the sake of the country. That's what he should be doing. If I were advising him, that's what I'd say.
Yeah, well, Laura, let's talk about the Loretta Lynch bombshell that was released this morning. Circa News is doing a story. First of all, we knew, James Comey said last week, that he met with Loretta Lynch, and the first meeting, she said, let's don't call the Hillary Clinton emails an investigation. Let's call it a matter. Well, then today, Circa News is reporting that then he met with her again, and he said, hey, that meeting you had with Bill Clinton on the tarmac, that is a conflict of interest. And then he hands her a document, and it's a highly sensitive document, and it was showing communication between two political figures. And apparently, He hands it to her and he says, I have information that you said you agreed to put the kibosh on Hillary Clinton's investigation. She reads this. She looks at the document according to this report. She looks up with a steely silence, and it lasted for some time, Comey says. Asked if he had other business with her, and then she asked, do you have more business with me? And if not, you need to leave my office.
Oh, boy.
Think about this. Think about how the left, when it came to the Trump meeting with Comey, has no problem inferring an attempt to impede an investigation when he said, I hope you can see an end to this. You know, he's a good guy. Comey responds, he's a good guy. Talking about the firing. So think about that. Media infers intent to obstruct an investigation. What about this meeting? If Loretta Lynch, the Attorney General of the United States, looks at a subordinate after he shows her a document, I'm dying to know what that document said or how they intercepted the document. It sounds like it's an email communication. And shows it to her, and she stares at him. Could we infer an implicit threat against Comey?
Right.
If he acts on this? Could
Sure.
we infer that she's trying to impede an ongoing federal investigation?
Right.
They're inferring it about Trump. Why not infer it about
Sure.
Loretta Lynch?
And you know what?
I think we know the answer to that.
Sure. And you know what? Everybody in your town is talking about collusion with the Russians, and there's no evidence so far that that happened between the Russians and the Trump campaign from what we know. But this is clear evidence that, he's showing her this document where there appears to be collusion between her and the Hillary Clinton campaign to win her the campaign.
But I'm not letting Comey off. But I'm not letting Comey off
don't
on this.
bother.
Yeah, like altruistic intentions of Jim Comey here. I'm gonna sweep those aside for a moment, because if he had that document, didn't he think that he had an obligation to go to the president? I mean, did he not think he had an obligation to
Maybe he did.
bring?
Maybe he did.
Well, maybe he did. We have to have that we have to have that examined. So the next question, of course, goes to Comey's friend, Bob Mueller, who's the special counsel here. Are we going to see Bob Mueller take this seriously? Because now this is being used, apparently, according to the reports, this meeting with Loretta Lynch as his reason for doing that July 5th non-indictment, but damning non-indictment of Hillary Clinton's behavior with the email server. Everyone said, why did you do that press conference? That was out of the norm. He apparently, according to the reports about this closed-door session last week, he said, because of Loretta Lynch's reaction to this memo I showed her, this email, we don't know what it was, but it was a conversation, as you said, between two well-placed politicos that seemed to indicate that she shut down that investigation. Where was Comey? Why didn't Comey take this to the president? And if he did, what did President Obama do about that? Now, we don't know. This is what Bob Mueller would have to investigate. Sure. But I bet the president, if that was done, he's going to try to claim some executive privilege after the fact.
A couple of things. On May 17th, Trey Gowdy had something very telling in an interview with Martha McCallum. I wish everyone would go back and look at the story, because he can't give away closed-door meetings, but he did indicate a lot more detail on this without giving up the top secret level that he has. Also, it's very interesting that nothing leaks out of that meeting. We get leaks constantly from closed doors. We don't get this. I want to transition to Bob Mueller. And we know the story yesterday. Chris Ruddy, who runs Newsmax and is tight with the president, came out with a story that the president's considering firing Robert Mueller. Well, the word is now we have John Roberts reporting this morning that that Chris Ruddy got that information from watching Jay Sekulow do a Sunday interview. And Jay Sekulow never said that he was going to be fired. So the White House pushed back on it and said, listen, the president, it's wrong. The president never said that. The president speaks for himself or through Sean Spicer, so dismiss it. Now, the front page of the New York Times, what happens if he does that? Everyone weighing in, this will be worst thing possible. Adam Schiff, I dare you to do it. So now they're running with that storyline. However, Robert Mueller is setting up like the best legal minds in the country to examine this. And some would wonder if he's going to do this. There's remnants of his background. If in the back of his mind, he's going to look to get revenge for James Comey on some level. That's the fear among people that want to see the truth come out.
Yeah, on the first matter, this is fake news. This is an example of the establishment media being agenda-driven to drive the president out of office, and being lazy. Oh, and being stupid. So that's a evil triple of a threat against objectivity in the media. Stupidity, and they're agenda-driven. And these people are completely lazy. So that's 3 against the media. Chris Ruddy, I adore him. He's a friend of mine. I think he's probably going to clarify this later today, but it doesn't matter. Even if Chris Ruddy, even if he misstated this, it sounds like he did. He got it from the Sekulow conversation on the Sunday show. Sekulow is not a lawyer of the president, by the way, as the LA Times is reporting this morning. So I imagine he'll correct that. But even if he said that, isn't it incumbent upon the American media to kind of chase it down and to verify whether that's true? No, they didn't do that because they want to drive the president out of office. Let's everyone who's watching this right now understand that. There is a concerted effort on the part of some never-Trumpers in the Republican caucus on Capitol Hill, and we know who they are, the media and the left, to drive the president out of office. It's incumbent upon objective people in the media and smart analysts and in the White House itself to keep their eye on the prize. The American people are smart. They see unfairness when it exists. This is patently unfair and untrue. This is fake news, and shame on all the other cable networks, New York Times, Washington Post for going with us. This is fake and false, and it's defamatory, and it's outrageous.
Agenda, stupid, lazy.
Thank you, Lori Ingraham. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
It's
always breaking news when we have you on. We appreciate it.
I know. Thanks.
All right, 12 minutes now after the hour.
All right, coming up on the rundown for this Tuesday, President Trump heads to Wisconsin later today, as we were just chatting with Laura about, with this message for America. College is not your only option, young people. We're live with the president's new job plan coming up.
And now you see it, now you don't. A major update of the advisor of this school yearbook that edited out all the signs of President Trump. Okay, they were pro-Trump.